Today's lesson is Chapter 5, Lesson 3 on pages 315 through 322. Our objective is I can solve problems by using an estimate or an exact answer. Question 1. When it says about in a word problem, you can blank. Question 2. The last step in problem solving is to blank. Alright, let's take a look at this problem solving video in your math online book.
Problem solving.
My family drove to my grandparents' house. We drove 58.6 miles in the first hour, 67.2 miles in the second hour, and 60.5 miles in the third hour. We followed the same route to return home.
Your mission. Find about how far Mandar's family traveled. First, we need to understand the problem. You know that the family drove 58.6 miles, 67.2 miles, and 60.5 miles. You need to find about how far Mandar's family traveled together. Next, we need a plan. Since you only need to find about how far they traveled, you can estimate the number of miles traveled each hour. Add the estimated miles, then double that amount for the trip back home. Now, let's solve the problem. Well, we know that in hour 1 they drove 58.6 miles. We can estimate that to be about 60 miles. We know that in hour 2 they drove 67.2 miles. That's about 70 miles. And we know that in hour 3 they drove 60.5 miles, which is about 60 miles. 60 plus 70 plus 60 equals 190. The one-way trip was about 190 miles. The return trip was another 190 miles. Mandar's family traveled about 190 plus 190, or 380 miles. Check your answer. They drove about 60 miles each hour. They drove 6 hours in all. Find 60 plus 60 plus 60 plus 60 plus 60 plus 60. Since the sum is 360, our estimate of 380 miles is reasonable.
Okay, so let's take a look at it in our book. I am on page 315. And you've seen these steps before. It's the 4-step problem solving steps of understand, plan, solve, and then lastly, if it will let me scroll down, check. So we've been doing this with multiplication, division, and place value. But here we are focusing on the difference between estimating and finding the exact answer, which I know we have had problems in the past on. So in this case, though, they're talking about a problem where it would say Mrs. Trainer needs to purchase a classroom response clicker and a new calculator. A clicker costs $31.99. The calculator cost $11.75. About how much money will it cost to buy both? So this is more like a realistic situation where you would just in your head figure out how much it would cost. So since it says about in the question, we know that we can estimate. So for the first step, what facts do we know? We know the clicker costs $31.99. The calculator is $11.75. So what do we need to find out? We have to find out about how much it will cost to buy the clicker and calculator. So we know we can estimate the cost of the clicker and calculator because it's at about in the question. If it would have just said how much money will it cost, we would have had to add the two prices up. So then when you go down to step 3 of solving it, we would just round these prices. We would round $31.99 up to $32. And we would round $11.75 up to $12. Then we would add those together. So 32 plus $12 is $44. She'll need to spend about $44 for the 2 items. And our last step there is to check. So we have to check if it's reasonable. So we can estimate another way. We could have estimated in the beginning by just rounding to, well, that's about 30 and that's about 10, and knowing that our answer is going to be about $40. So 40 is close to 44, so we know our answer is reasonable. Go ahead and look back at these 2 questions and answer them in the form, please.